Today, we're talking about this guy right here, the guy who I feel is the main reason why we don't necessarily need Deshaun Jackson. Today, we're talking about my man, Chris Godwin, and why Bucs fans really should take notice and expect big things from him next season. So, Chris Godwin is a very special type of receiver. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers got him in last draft, same draft with Kendall Beckwith, who's another stud who I'll probably be making a video on soon. The Buccaneers got him with their third round pick number 20, with Chris Godwin. Now, coming out of college, Chris Godwin was projected to be a second to third round pick. His strengths included good size at 6'1", decent route running, pretty good hands, decent separation, decent blocker, and good ball winning abilities. So if he had a 50-50 ball, there's a good shot that he's going to go up and grab it and maintain it. His NFL comparison was Jermaine Kearse, who is currently the number 1 wide receiver for the New York Jets, who honestly wasn't that bad of a receiver to begin with. He was probably the number 2 on the Seattle Seahawks when he was there. So honestly, not a very bad receiver under any circumstances, and I feel he's a very special type of player who you should expect big things from, because he's very comparable to, not necessarily in size, but he's got pretty good skills. He's almost in that same vein of, again, Jermaine Kearse is one of them. Maybe not necessarily Martavis Bryant, but he's just one of those very good all-around balanced wide receivers. He's probably one of the better balanced wide receivers that we have on the team, maybe minus Mike Evans. He honestly might be more balanced than Mike Evans, I don't know. But the point is that the kid's special. The kid is very special, and in my opinion, he could very much be the number 2 wide receiver come the start of the Buccaneers next season. Let's throw out some stats for you guys, okay? He had 34 catches, 525 yards, and 1 touchdown. He was named the Offensive Player of the Week in Week 17 when he had his 111-yard game against the New Orleans Saints. He had 7 catches and a touchdown. He very much looked like a number 1 wide receiver there. Now let's go ahead and compare him to the current Buccaneers third wide receiver, Adam Humphries. He had 100 less yards than Adam Humphries. Adam Humphries finished with around 630, let's say. However, Adam Humphries had 30 more catches than Chris Godwin. 30 more. So, whereas Adam Humphries was averaging, let's say Adam Humphries was averaging around 10.6 yards a grab, or 10.6 yards a catch. Chris Godwin was averaging 15.4. That is pretty darn impressive to me. Chris Godwin has shown very good skills just all around. He's a very balanced wide receiver. And he's shown to be able to make big plays when he needs to. He's more suitable in a play-action offense, which, quite frankly, we need to start running. Jameis Winston is one of the best play-action quarterbacks, too. Why are we running a play-action offense? I couldn't tell you, but the point is that Chris Godwin's looking very good, and he really could affect how things change in the wide receiver locker room moving forward. Deshaun Jackson just recently had an incident where I believe it was his car was stolen, and bullets and marijuana were found in his car. It's not that it was stolen, but one of his friends borrowed it. So what happens there? And also Deshaun Jackson didn't necessarily have the best season himself. So do we just end it at, yes, he's going to become the new third wide receiver ahead of Adam Humphries, which, quite frankly, that is more than likely going to happen? Or do we take it a step further and we either trade or release Deshaun Jackson, who, one, didn't perform that well this past season? Yes, Deshaun Jackson is a very special type of player, but if you don't need him at such a high salary, you could easily dispose of him through a trade or through release. And do you move Chris Godwin to that number 2 slot? I feel that Chris Godwin would be a very solid number 2 wide receiver, especially with the passing that Jameis Winston does. Jameis Winston likes to spread the ball around to pretty much everybody. And I think Chris Godwin would be a fine number 2 option with Mike Evans and Adam Humphries in the third spot. So it really just depends. Yes, Chris Godwin would also get a very large amount of opportunities as the third wide receiver as well. But it's going to come down to whether or not Jason Light decides that we think that, I think that Jason Light might think that, yes, I think Chris Godwin's a very special type of wide receiver. Deshaun Jackson's had some issues lately with this whole card trouble. Also, he didn't perform that well last season, which again, I'm going to be making a whole other video about that as well. I could decide just, we could cut his salary. We'll save some money. Yes, we'll lose some money, but we'll also save a good chunk of money too. We'll take a penalty, but all in all, we'll save some money, and we'll roll with Mike Evans at the 1, Chris Godwin at the 2, Adam Humphries at the 3, OJ Howard, Cameron Brate at tight end, and maybe draft a running back, or maybe sign a running back. A Rashad Penny, a Jerick McKinnon, maybe get a Saquon Barkley if you're looking extra saucy. And the offense would be fine. You sign some free agent offensive linemen. Maybe you draft an offensive lineman in Quentin Nelson, and then later on you get the running back from, I can't remember his name. It's not Rashad Penny, it's somebody else. Sonny Mitchell. Maybe you get a Sonny Mitchell, or you get a Rashad Penny. You get Quentin Nelson with your first round pick. Wouldn't be bad at all, in my opinion. If you had the offense of Mike Evans at the 1, Chris Godwin at the 2, Adam Humphries at the 3, Cameron Brate and OJ Howard at tight end, and then at running back, at your offensive line, you have Donovan Smith, which quite frankly I've given a lot of crap to him, but we're going to keep him more than likely. You have Quentin Nelson at one guard position. You have Ali Marpet at the other guard position. You have J.R. Sweezy or Kevin Panfield or a free agent signing at the right guard position. You have DeMar Dodson at the right tackle position. And at running back, you have either a Jerick McKinnon, you have a Sonny Mitchell, you have a Rashad Penny, or you decide to roll with Peyton Barber, and the Peyton Barber, Charles Sims, Jaquid Rogers trio. Would we really be that mad at that offense? I would think it's fine. I would certainly think it's better. I don't know if I'd say it's better. Because quite frankly, I mean, you could just keep your deep wide receiver core, because let's be honest, it is deep. But I really feel that if you can cut some costs there, you might want to do that. Yeah, obviously I'm not an NFL general manager, and yes, Deshaun Jackson is a very, very good player. I can't stress that enough. But I feel that type of offense wouldn't be bad. You run some more play action. You toss the ball up to your big receivers. Your 50-50 winning receivers in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, or you throw an underneath route to Adam Humphries, or your really tall tight ends in OJ Howard and Cameron Brate. It's not bad at all, and you could probably have a better chance at running the type of offense that Dirk wants to run, which is obviously at this point a very deep passing, vertical-esque offense. It hasn't worked that well with Deshaun Jackson. Maybe it would work better with a taller guy like Chris Godwin. Who knows? But really, bottom line, I think Chris Godwin's a very special type of player. I think he's going to have a very big 2018-2019 season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I'll be very interested to see how he performs in training camp, how he performs in the preseason, how he performs in the regular season, and he'll probably end up being the Buccaneers' third wide receiver moving forward, or maybe even the second, honestly. Maybe even the second. We don't know. But let me know what you guys think about Chris Godwin down in the comments section below. I'm certainly very excited for him. I will also be making a video on Kendall Beckwith later down the line. But again, let me know what you think of the Chris Godwin down below, and what your perfect scenario would be for getting him more involved in the offense, because let's be honest, he deserves to be more involved. Averaging 15 yards a catch, that's pretty darn impressive. He should at least be the third string wide receiver in my opinion, but do you believe that he should overtake Deshaun Jackson in his role at the number 2? Let me know, and as always guys, I'll see you in the next video, but until then, goodbye for now guys.